Hey everybody, welcome to the Trailer Punk Podcast. My name is Justin Hamline. This episode is going to be a little different because it's a video podcast where today I interviewed Bradley Palermo from Femme Fatality. It's a fantastic interview. It was done through Zoom, so you'll see those transitions. And at one point, the interview got cut off because of technical difficulties. So everything got fixed and picked right back up. So I'll try and edit the best I can, kind of transition it, but we're just gonna let it flow the way it was. So um, let me kind of geek out a little bit about Femme Fatality. Um, I grew up listening to Femme Fatality because of something called STL Punk. That was kind of it was a lot like social media, like how you have, Facebook and Instagram. This was pre MySpace, so this was more of like for a local region for St. Louis, St. Charles, I think parts of Illinois. It was kind of like in that region. I'm sure there's other people from other states, but mostly it was for St. Louis. A lot of St. Louis bands would put their music on there. Me, myself included, when I was doing Spiral Shape Mind, I put a lot of my music on there, but I discovered them through STL Punk, and from there, just follow them all the way through their discography or their whole career as Femme Fatality. Went to a bunch of shows. Those come up in the interview. After listening to One's Not Enough, that actually kind of pushed me into wanting to do like live shows and get up on stage eventually and be able to do it. So, but they're a fantastic band. I encourage you guys to check them out. Um, all the links will be in the description. For Brad's solo stuff, Femme Fatality stuff. He's part of a barber shop. I think he runs it. He owns it out in LA. So I'll have a link in the description, bio, whatever you want to call it. Um, see if I'm missing anything else. It's a fantastic interview. It's my first one. Um, it was I'm so glad that he gave me the opportunity because I've never done this before, but I'm familiar with talking with people. I'm familiar talking with musicians, but at least this one, it felt like I could really sit down and kind of dissect and open up about certain things and even ask certain questions that that have been in my head and in my mind for a while. um yeah, so if you're checking it out, thank you. If you have any other suggestions, let me know in the comments. um oh, let me do some more plugs. I got another I'll be Jesus, I can't talk. I will be on the Horror Vision podcast next Sunday, but that probably won't drop until the following week, where we're going to sit and talk about Lords of Chaos and Until the Light Takes Us. Um, about the black metal band Mayhem and everything that went off at that time. And then the following Sunday, I'll be doing an episode with my brother, Jared Hamline, where we're going to talk about the 1985 Russian World War II movie Come and See. And we will be talking about the industrial rock band Machines of Loving Grace from Tucson, Arizona. So stay tuned to those. I'm trying to work on some other interviews coming soon, and of course, my usual reviews and stuff. So thank you for listening in, and here's my interview. Thanks. Recording. We're just gonna go on the fly here.
Okay, cool.
Anyways, so
Yeah.
you're filming or you're doing the interview in your barbershop, right? Is that your?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
appears yeah. My wife was like, "Oh, I'm home early." I'm like, "I'll just stay at the shop."
No, that's
Cool.
cool. So, yeah, go ahead. Let's go ahead and start off. Go ahead and just plug everything and just let everybody know what you've been up to and music wise, your barbershop, all that. Go ahead and just unload it all.
Yeah, for sure. My music and all the links can be found at Bradley Palermo. It's PALERMO.com. The latest stuff we've been up to is Bradley Palermo and the Shadow Queens. We had a record come out in the fall. It's all kind of like satanic themed. Obviously, um, used to be in well, maybe it's never officially been over in Femme Fatality, the
Yeah.
electronic band, and
Yep.
yeah, I run a barber shop out here in Valley Village, California called
That's great.
Val Barber.
Yeah, I suggest everybody follow it on Instagram. It got really cool posts, a lot of great pictures, and they got great videos, and I really dig the vibe of it. So I think it's cool.
Thanks.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's yeah, it's at the Val Barber, I think, on
yeah,
Instagram.
yeah. I'll go ahead and I'll post all the links on the I'll share them on Instagram, Facebook, and on the YouTube page or the link
Sweet.
to
I'll do
that
the same.
video. Cool, sounds great.
Cool.
You were at Hawaii. How was that?
Oh yeah, we've never been to Hawaii before. We talked
Yeah,
about it
that's
a long
cool.
time.
Yeah,
It was cool. It's we went to Waikiki, which I guess is like the tourist,
yeah, that's
like
cool.
kind of like the Las Vegas
Yeah,
sort of strip of Hawaii, and
yeah,
it was fun. I mean, it was crowds
yeah.
and craziness, but we just kind of retreated to the pool and the
Yep, that's kind of how we were.
um
My wife and I, we went to Miami. We went on a cruise, and at the same time the cruise was going on was the Ultra Music Festival. All the ravers were coming out and all this. So it was like
yeah,
pure mayhem. And a lot of the stuff, like we're very like introverts. So we're like
yeah.
avoiding crowds and we're just kind of like, let's just stay on our own bubble. So I totally understand that.
Yeah, it was fun once you like figure out the rhythm. It kind of takes a minute to be like, what
Yep.
am I going to do here? It's
No,
like,
I
oh,
get it.
just don't do anything. That's
Right.
nice. Yeah.
No, I get it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and start with a lot of the earlier stuff. What was it like, the Palermo family growing up in St. Louis, between you and Alex and your whole family? What was it like in St. Louis?
We grew up in like Wildwood, which I don't even think had a name when we came out there. It was like unincorporated St. Louis County, so kind of on the corner of like the country and the edge of the suburbs. And
Yeah,
yeah, I think I mean everything was kind of chill. It was kind of um, it was. I mean, it was fun. I feel like I didn't realize how country we were
yeah,
until I kind of moved to LA. I'm like, yeah,
yeah.
like on the weekends we go ride four wheelers and like
Hmm.
shoot guns at cans and like shit that like you wouldn't do out here when you're a child, I
No,
think. So,
I live in
so
Lincoln County out here in Troy. So I believe me, I understand. I moved
oh,
from
cool.
like St. Charles County to where the property taxes are a lot cheaper out here. So that's why it's like
Oh, cool.
let's just grow out here. And it's been a growing like it's a lot more suburbs and they're kind of building on it, kind of how like Wentzville used to be a little bit like smaller. Hicktown has now become more, it's branched out. It's insane. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah. So but yeah,
I think that's what we do. It's like the new generations kind of you move out to where you can afford it. I mean,
right.
even in Los Angeles, like I'm on the suburban
Yeah,
outskirts, and then
yeah.
that kind of catches up, and
Yep.
then
That's cool.
mm.
What were you playing like any what was your primary instrument when you were growing up?
Oh, I think my dad planned on getting like a guitar lesson or something. So there was a guitar in our house, and
Oh, okay.
Nirvana was popular at the time, which is something that like a kid could show his friend, like the neighbor could be like, "All you got to do is this," and you're like,
Yep. So
"Cool."
do you
So
have
it
like a garage
started
band
with
type
guitars.
thing starting out?
Oh yeah, we played like from 14. We were playing like bands that were trying to sound like
Hmm.
the grunge thing and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I was in the
and it
middle of
was
that
always
too.
some yeah. I mean, it was an easy way in because
Yeah.
the kids that were doing like Metallica and stuff, it was like I'll never be able to fucking do that. Like
Yep.
whatever the fuck you're doing with your fingers. So it was nice to have like entry level bands.
Yep. No, I was like that too. It was when I was going to high school, there was a lot of punk bands and I was getting more into industrial music. So as people are
Yeah,
handing out pop punk CDs and stuff like that, I burnt these horrible, just bad copies of music on like on CDs, and I'm handing them out at school. And so it's funny because at the time I was doing that, I discovered you guys on STL Punk.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah. And so
By the
kind of
way, I realized
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I
No, you're
realized
good.
I'm still connected to my tethered to my phone. Do you want me to
That's
get
okay.
on Wi-Fi? Is this really laggy? No,
It's a
you're good.
little laggy. I mean, you do what you got to
Like
do.
you
It's
can hear me.
fine. Yeah, I can hear you fine. It just kind of delays a little bit, but
But
if you
I could probably jump back on the
okay,
actual Wi-Fi here
okay. Do
if
you mean to
if
re
that's a big pain in the ass, but I won't. But
No, it's fine. So
hold on, give me 1 second.
yeah, go
I'm
ahead, do
sorry.
what you got. No, it's fine, dude. I'll edit this out if I have to.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No,
One
you're
sec.
good, dude. No, go ahead.
All right. Never mind. I think that's as good as it's gonna get. All right, let's
Okay.
keep going. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, no,
STL
it's
Punk.
I'm not worried about it. No, it's okay, dude. So we're just kind of rolling with it. So, anyways, what was your networking at the time when you were doing Femme Fatality? What was kind of your main source of networking?
I think a lot of our friends were hanging out at like the Rocket Bar, and there was kind of it's weird. Just doing shit kind of attracts more action. So we had friends at a bar, and even that played in that band for uh brief shows or moments, and you play there, and then the band you play with is kind of like, oh, we have this show in Springfield.
Yep.
You guys should hop on. And then it's almost like you just kind of every time you go out, you
Yep.
collect more.
Hmm.
Eventually, MySpace and all that happened. So then it became uh, less local and more just kind of like there's like a scene, like all the electro bands kind of play the same spots, and those people
Yeah.
are reaching out. But when
Yeah.
it started off, it was really just like, oh, we hang out here, or can we play tonight? And like right
Mhm.
now, like yeah, like right now, you got anything going on? Like, and it was kind of like that.
That's awesome. No, that was a good time because a lot of the time it was when I was doing a lot of my stuff, it came later. And this was literally the fall. My first show was the fall of the Creepy Crawl. And it was like my
Oh
dream
wow,
to go to the Creepy Crawl because I saw you guys did your show at the Creepy Crawl. I think it was for at least the picture I saw was the One's Not Enough. And I think that was your
okay,
guys' record release. And I saw the
right,
picture of you guys hanging out backstage with your feather boas and the keyboards in the back,
yeah,
smoking cigarettes or whatever. And I was like, I need to get there. And
yeah,
so my first show was there, and then it was like a month or two later, it just the creepy crawl like left. So it was just like at that time when you guys were doing everything, it felt like it did it feel like things were more fluid?
yeah. I mean, it was. Yeah, I was playing in bands like like indie rock stuff or like
Oh,
doing
okay.
kind of like folky stuff,
Oh, because
and
so
we
you were
were
doing
and
okay.
and like before, yeah, and like
Hmm.
things kind of like weren't exciting enough just to like jump off. But then with Femme Fatality, it was all kind of done like sort of in character and with a concept.
Yeah.
And we came out with like original like with lights on our crotch originally and
Yeah.
like fog machines and projectors and all this stuff. And people were just and our idea was like, let's see what happens. And some people were kind of in the clubs were kind of annoyed, like, what is all this? But then um I feel like you kind of just get in where they let you, and then people were kind of responsive, and you were.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I was like, scream for me, motherfuckers, which is something you'd never say like in a folk band, and everyone did. I was like, oh, it's just that easy,
Yeah, it's
right?
just
Like, it's
reactionary.
just
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like that, like confidence or whatever,
Yeah.
and because we felt like we knew we were being silly, like
Yeah.
I think you know maybe beyond like even the merits of like whatever we were doing musically, it was like it was catching on like kind of as like a brand sort of quickly. And St. Louis has always kind of had um kind of a cool like punk scene and like
Yeah.
like underground stuff, and like
Yeah.
it's affordable to like
Hmm.
get drinks and hang out or start your own fucking club. So
Yeah.
there was always that stuff there, but I felt like with Femme Fatality it was kind of like a match like hit the gasoline. It was
Yeah.
kind of like fast and quick.
Right. Did you have to deal
or
with,
that means the same thing. But
no, you're good. Did you have to deal with like uh doing like headlines with other bands where it was like you had to deal with just this obnoxious opening band or anything that was like why are we on the same lineup kind of situation?
I mean, I don't know, because it was. I feel like it was that time where like Bright Eyes and like The Faint
Yep.
were on the same bill, which I don't
Yeah.
like. Other than the fact they're all from Omaha, like
Right. Yeah.
it didn't really make sense.
Right.
So like, I feel like when we would play with like a rockabilly band, like the Seven Shot
Seven
Screamers,
Screamers. Yep.
or
Hmm.
we'd play with sometimes these like really like serious industrial bands, which
Yeah.
we weren't like really in that scene,
I think Murder
even though
Happens
we'd
was
go
one of
see
them,
like
wasn't it?
Skinny Puppy and stuff.
Murder
Yeah,
Happens
I
was,
do
yeah.
remember one night with Murder. Yeah, I remember when Murder happened, and I don't know if the
Hmm.
drama was real, but one time we played with Murder Happens, and
Yeah.
like it was sold out, and I remember like whoever I was dating at the time was at the merch table with whoever one of them was
Hmm.
dating, and she was like, "Hey, like they're over here talking about how everyone's here for Murder Happens." So I was like, "All right, give me a second." When I went up there,
Hmm.
because it's Femme Fatality, you got to
Yeah,
go
of
with the
course.
ego,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, of
And I was
course.
like, "Who are you here to see, motherfuckers?" Like, Femme Fatality. And I'm like, "Who are you here to see?" I'm like looking at the table. I'm like, "All
I
right,
love it.
cool."
I love
Now
it.
that we got that out of the way, but like, yeah,
But
I mean,
yeah, no, I get
there
it.
was there was stuff like that, and we would fuck with bands. Like we opened for one of our first shows. Like we opened for like Big in Japan, but we kept
Hmm.
pretending like we thought they were called Bomb Iran. So it was just like, I mean, like we'd really like to thank you tonight. Like we'd really like to thank Bomb Iran or
Yeah.
Iran, whatever you guys call yourself,
Yeah.
And and I think people got it, but we had like a rule, like never
Yeah.
laugh, never smile on
Right.
stage.
Yeah.
So
Just go with it.
things got
Right.
more serious later, but at first we
Yeah.
were like, we're literally just fucking with you, you know?
Yeah. No, I had to do one with Bow Wow Wow and Gene Loves Jezebel. It was some sort of like
Well, that's
80s
cool.
thing that it was great. Like Bow Wow Wow was great, but the singer, there was a bit of drama going on with Gene Loves Jezebel because it was two brothers in the band. And they
Yeah,
both split up and they did their own version of Gene Loves Jezebel, right?
they did. Yeah.
And the one that came around, he was really arrogant, kind of egotistical, and he called us the worst locals ever. So I kind of started, me and my brother kind of we're kind of running with that, and we're just kind of calling ourselves the worst locals ever. So I can
Yeah.
totally understand with this sort of like weird like level of opening with these bands and kind of they're more like fun stories to tell. They're not really like a serious thing, you know? So
Yeah, you run into so many like narcissists and stuff just in music. I mean,
yeah,
that's just part of it.
yeah.
And I don't know if I'm innocent of all that. I'm sure there's
No, it's
people,
okay.
but I mean, it's endless. Like
Yeah.
I think no matter what band I've been in or like, borrowed for or like been in for a tour or whatever, I found that there's like a common thread that like once you get in the van, you're all talking shit about the other bands you played in, like no matter what.
Yep.
Like for some reason, bands really think the other bands they played with are hilarious, and I don't know
Right.
what that is, but
Yeah, I don't
but
know.
that's like half the conversation when you're driving all day. Like, you remember that fucking guy? What he fucking said? Like, do you remember like
Yeah.
how. But
Oh my God. So let's go and jump into Never Had a Daddy. It's been 20 years old. How does that make you feel about it?
oh yeah, I guess just it just makes me feel old. I think it
Right.
just like when you remember when you when you were I feel like when I started listening to music in the '90s, like bands that were 20 years old, it was like, dude, are they still trying to get on the stage? Like that
Yep.
is crazy.
Yep.
I feel like the '60s were only like 30 years before like
Yeah, it
grunge
feels
or
sobering.
whatever. So
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just crazy the passage of time.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that much time to me,
Hmm.
but
No.
like knowing that like there was a time where that was like, I mean, I was only 20 when I started it.
Yeah.
So the fact that like it's been that long,
Yeah.
it kind of blows my mind.
I know. What was the recording process when you were starting that up?
It was a little disjointed. It was like I had a sequencer, which is just like this Yamaha thing that you could do like 16 tracks on, and it had really basic instrument sounds, like cheesy sounds.
Of course, yeah.
And
I
so yeah, of course, but
yeah.
um it was I was working on like that as like just accompaniment for the concept of maybe doing like solo shows.
Yeah.
And then as my friends came over and were drinking and stuff, they were like, dude, we should do like maybe like a Beastie Boys thing, or maybe like a, you know, maybe like a faint type thing. And then we did a couple shows just using that machine, and quickly like people that were more interested in like synth pop and such. Um, like Lee, who called himself Octavia, I believe, in the
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
He came along and he was like, all right, let me record this stuff. Let me throw out what's not good. Let me put in dance in my own tracks. And then he sort of cleaned up, my tracks with his stuff, and then wrote some of his own stuff. Um and then we ended up, doing vocals in a kitchen and just kind of like by the seat of our pants. But it was kind of a collaborative of like me and JT and Lee
Mhm.
just fucking around on random stuff. So if it sounded like it was from various places and skill levels, it's kind of because it was.
Do you have any of the early demo stuff, or is this all just everything you guys used when you did it through Collective Records?
Yeah, I still have the first demos that didn't have Lee on them at all. It was
Yeah.
just me and JT at like his friend's house with a mic, and those were like the original ones on STL Punk.
Yeah.
And I think they're still in an email. Every once in a while, somebody that was into it back in the day will like come around and be like, do you have like X, Y, and Z? This
Hmm.
cover you did, this one song, and I'll be like, yeah, like it's all in here somewhere in like
That's cool.
Gmail storage. It's just gonna take me a few minutes to
Just
search.
go through it and yeah.
Yeah, like so they're around. Yeah,
Yeah. I remember I think it was Lee was the other vocalist, right? Curly hair.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was Lee, and then it was Kevin, and then it was my sibling Alex, and then yeah.
Kevin, it's funny because my wife's sister, she went to school with Kevin. And when we
Yeah.
first met, when we were working together, I was wearing a Femme Fatality shirt. I got the one with the coffins and the ones with the female on the keyboard. And she's like,
Oh,
"Oh,
right,
I know
right.
Kevin. He was in that band." So I was like, it was just one of those weird
Yes,
like link ups where I was like, "Oh my God." Like it was fantastic. So
it's fun.
so at the time it was kind of the lineup was kind of changing. Was that doing a lot around Never Had a Daddy, or was that later on for One's Not Enough? You kind of had went through a few lineup changes.
Yeah, it right. I think it changed a lot, and like
Mhm.
from the beginning, I think originally it was just me. It was just JT and I, who I
Mhm.
think went by like K Demeter, but he was
Mhm.
like barely in there.
Yeah.
But he actually like um was sort of a lot of the concept guy, you
Yeah.
know, like this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna like make it work. This is what's
Yeah.
gonna be funny for the local scene, or fun, or
Yeah.
or over the top. And like he took a he graduated college and took a job in Sweden, and
Mhm.
then and by then Lee was already like hanging out with us and like helping us with the tracks. So then Lee kind of took his place. I think we did some shows as a trio at like
Yeah.
Radio Cherokee and like some
Mhm.
places, and
Yeah.
then Lee and I toured for a while together, and he was kind of like, I'm into this, but like not really like, you know, because St. Louis was cool, but like we for
Oh
every
yeah.
St. Louis there'd be like
Yeah.
five or six like
Yeah.
wherever the fuck in like Arkansas that nobody cares. And I think he
Yep.
was kind of like, I don't really want to be on the road like this.
Yeah.
And
I
then
get it. Yep.
that's and he kind of just changed like that. But
Hmm.
I'm still buddies with
Yeah.
like really tight with JT, and
Good. Yeah.
we still see Lee every once in a blue moon, like if I
Yeah.
play a show in St. Louis or something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's
so
good.
so yeah,
Yeah.
it was always changing. And then when
That's
you
good.
move, it
Yep.
changes
It
again.
changes up. Yeah. I
Yeah.
get it. Now with the did you guys go into a studio and recorded all of that? Like just nailed it all out, like in a recording studio in St. Louis when you did Never
With
Had a
One's Not
Daddy?
Enough.
No, never had a daddy.
Oh, never had a daddy. No, it was all. I mean, it was all just like
Stuff you did at home.
just direct and like at our houses and our
Okay.
kitchens and living rooms and stuff.
Because it sounds
Yeah.
great. It sounds like,
Oh, thanks.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it doesn't, because I believe me, I've done a few recordings at home and you're like, when you're trying to get, you just keep hearing an echo or something just doesn't, it doesn't make it right. You know what I mean? So, the click
Yeah.
on of the AC or something or a fan, something, it just drives you nuts. So for that to be at home recorded, that sounds amazing, by the way. So wow,
Thanks, man.
that's good to know.
I remember like we were because I mean I've always kind of recorded at home and stuff, but back
Yeah.
then I remember going to like Guitar Center and being like, "Does anyone know how we can press vocals?" You know, like,
Yeah.
and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, like you got to buy this or whatever."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, and we're like, "Let's try to compress it," you know, like it was in hindsight, like the vocals like kind of aren't compressed, but like
Right.
I
Yeah.
think at the end, if you have someone master it, like that
Yes.
helps too,
That
you
really
know?
helps. That's what I've noticed
Yeah,
too. So,
yeah.
when you guys were doing your live setup, what were you guys using? One thing I put was the telephone mic. I loved that. That was so original and I loved it. What were you guys using gear wise? What was your usual on stage setup?
So I think the thing that we like settled on was I noticed that our setup kind of like similar to like a hip hop setup where we're at the beginning. I mean, by the end we really weren't running tracks. At the beginning, we were pretty much only running tracks,
Yeah.
and and I noticed like with when I would see like a hip hop artist, a lot of times at that time the vocal just kind of being live and the
Mhm.
tracks not being live, it just didn't fucking like mesh at all. It
Yep.
felt weird.
Yeah.
And so we brought like just the big SPA on stage. So we would have like what a band has, like
Mm.
on stage amplification.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're like, you can turn this up to the PA if you like on your PA if you want.
Yeah.
But like we need like some sound like that's actually coming from the source.
No, I get it. Yeah.
So we would do our like sequencer or our computer or whatever, like
Yeah.
direct into like this ridiculous PA that was
Yeah.
super hard to bring up the stairs at a high point or
Oh my
whatever.
God. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, but like it would it kind of worked, and I think it kind of like blended it all together, so it wasn't just like you know when you're directing only and with a mic, like you might have the music real low, and it's just like you, and it
Mm.
doesn't you on the vocals kind of way skyrocketing over the music. It doesn't have that
Right.
punch.
Yeah.
And then we
Definitely.
had the telephone mic,
Yep.
which I don't remember. I think my brother knows, but I don't remember what band I saw do that. Maybe some noise artist or something,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'd seen it before, and I was like, dude, I really. Oh, excuse me on the
No,
phone.
go
Here, I'm
ahead.
gonna
Yeah,
turn this
dude, it's
off.
good. Go ahead, man. No, you're good.
Put that shit on airplane mode.
Dude, you're
Um,
fine. It's all good.
yeah. So we just had my dad like solder the
Yeah.
quarter-inch cable to the end
Yeah.
of the telephone, and wow, it
No, it
works.
worked.
It
It was
always seems
great.
to get the vocal from the
It was
earpiece,
like it was such an
but yeah, it's fun.
original concept. Like, I mean, it kind of reminded me of like when Mike Patton used the it was like a gas mask. I think it was for Tomahawk. No, was it Tomahawk? Which one was that? The Mike Patton. Am I saying that right? Is it Tomahawk? He did
I don't. I don't know.
he had like a almost like a gas mask kind of thing. And he had a mic in the gas mask. Let me pull it up real quick. I know it's not Mr. Bungle, and of course my phone's going to be slow. But I think it was I saw footage of him live, and he has keyboards just all around him, and he had a gas mask where it had a microphone in it, and that kind of reminded me of the telephone because it still kind of had that sort of like kind of it's almost a little bit distorted in a way, but it kind of has that sort of like a muffled type. I don't know, it was just really cool. So that's what it reminded me of when you guys would use the telephone. Reminded me of Mike Patton when he would use the gas mask as part of his vocals.
It's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think of telephone is like just all like high gain
It is,
mid
yeah.
range.
Yeah.
Like so it's like, it's something that you could do kind of easily.
Yeah.
obviously in the studio, but live,
Right.
it's like
Live, it
not
was just
something you're gonna get. Or the mic's
yeah.
gonna go like,
Right. Yeah,
so,
definitely. It was just
and
such a
it's so
neat,
quiet that when you
yeah.
put your lips right up on
Yeah,
it,
you
you
can.
kind of get that. Yeah, yeah,
Um, so a few of the songs, um, Baby Girl is probably one of my favorite tracks just because it has that sort of knack of storytelling that I'm used to hearing with a lot of your songs.
yeah,
And like it's about a stranger, but the stranger's you. Am I hearing that
yeah.
correctly? And also, is that the same stranger based on The Stranger, the EP you guys came out in 2015? Is there any connection on that at all?
Not consciously, you know,
Okay.
but
Just
now
for
that you
me.
say that, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's yeah, no, like I didn't forgot about that,
No, it's okay.
but yeah, no, that's that it could be, it should be, you
It's
know,
no, just
but
because it
I
makes
think
sense.
yeah, I think the by the time we were at the Stranger EP, it was like we're trying to like write more like crime stuff, and
Yeah.
back then we were kind of trying to do like a conscious backlash to like emo or
Yeah.
whatever. Like instead of
Yeah.
being all sad, we're like crazy maniacs or whatever. But like,
It worked well, and I think it felt like it really came along at a time when with emo and alternative and can you hear me okay?
yeah, yeah, it's
Okay.
just yeah,
No, you're
it's
good.
on my end. I my left
Okay.
ear is being
Oh no,
yeah,
you're
you're
good.
good.
So, but yeah, it's the like it just came at a time when people were diving really into music, and it's amazing how, I mean, I guess your biggest hit would be what, Dr. K?
Yeah, that seemed to be the one.
And
Yeah,
it really, I think it spoke a lot because we were the pill generation, if I'm being
yeah,
so bold to say, because,
yeah,
70s, 60s, 70s, a lot of acid and stuff like that. And, 80s is cocaine and all. But then all of a sudden, it's like we've become the pill-based generation where we're all raised on, amphetamines and Xanax and
yeah,
antidepressants and painkillers. It was like that was kind of our anthem. It was weird to say, but it was a connection that we had with it. And yeah, I mean, what was the impact for you guys on that one?
we had it was a weird song because it's like you never know when you're just starting off a band like one's gonna be kind of like the one that the DJ's like
Yeah,
that has some sort of minor underground like
yeah,
pop culture significance.
right.
Um, but like that, like there was a doctor in like High Ridge or somewhere a little beyond there in out
Yeah,
Missouri,
yeah,
and the Dr. Katz, and he like we like literally had friends that he would prescribe them everything, and like he when we wrote the song,
so it's real. That is
um,
hilarious. That's
it was
great.
about like a real thing, and
Yeah,
he wasn't a criminal or
no,
arrested at the time he wrote it.
no,
He later went to prison,
of course.
but yeah, I mean, this is like a for real dude, and we, I think I was definitely into pills. Like we would go to
Yeah,
raves, but like just
yeah,
we'd
yeah,
send we'd give everyone like you give one guy like $5 each or whatever to get in, and
yeah,
then you go in just to get your shit and come out
mhm.
and we roll or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
And
Yeah,
so I think I was like I mean I had like very little experience with like any of those drugs, but like
right.
they were still around. Like I
Oh
tried
yeah,
like oxy once and
yeah,
like maybe
hmm,
done ecstasy a few times or whatever, but like
right.
we wrote that song and then people took to it, and then next
Yeah,
thing we know you're on the road and like everywhere you fucking
oh
go like
yeah,
people are like stuffing pills in your pockets from the floor onto the stage. It's like
right.
you sing about that kind of shit and like you attract it, and then
Yeah,
your life starts to become a little bit
yeah.
more like seasoned in that
Right.
area.
No, I know because I can only imagine where it was like hearing about Alice in Chains, the lead singer. He was writing about, heroin and stuff, and then people would come up to him and be like, "I'm so fucked up, man." Like, he's just like, "I'm not, I'm kind of trying to keep away from it, or I'm just using it lyrically." But did
Yeah.
you run into that where people were like, "Dude, I took so many pills," like just to try and impress you guys, kind of thing?
Yeah, no, I remember like the first thing that comes to my mind is like this place we'd play in Nashville that was kind of like their creepy crawl or whatever.
Yeah.
And And I remember being like outside like after the show, and some dude's like, "Hey, I couldn't afford to like get in, but like I had to meet you because I've done every drug that you've ever sang about or whatever." And he's just
Yeah.
like scratching and itching. And I'm
Yeah.
like, man, like what am I
Just
getting
music.
myself into?
It's just
But
music,
like,
man. Right.
yeah, but like it does
Yeah.
attract all that, and like it's you want to I don't know. I mean, a different place in time, you want to be like, do you need
Yeah.
something? Can I help you in
Right.
that way?
Of
Like,
course. Yeah.
obviously, like addiction's like a serious thing,
Oh
but like
yeah. Yeah.
at the time, you're like, man, like I don't know, like I'm just fucking around doing music, like it's
Yeah.
just like
No,
pop
I get it.
culture type shit. Like,
Yeah.
so you're kind of like, I'm not really the guy to like talk to about this right now.
I'm not your
And like
man.
sometimes people would bring weird shit,
Yeah.
like and like we played in Springfield and some guy was like, oh yeah, like I brought some G. And like, what's G? And like GHB. So we're like, this is by the time we're kind of like, all right, let's see what this town has to
Yeah.
offer. And we're all just fucking like willingly taking GHB like in
Right.
the
Yep.
van fucking some parking lot.
Oh man.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it happened a
No, I
lot.
get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Hmm.
So we're touring the album. I know you guys did Mizzou Lecture Hall. Tell me about that, because that's a very like I don't know. I couldn't find a college to play in for my life. You know what I mean? So playing in Mizzou, what was that like in the lecture hall with the chalkboard on the back? You know what I mean? You guys writing on the
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
I don't recall how the fuck we ended up.
Yeah.
That's the only time we played a lecture hall.
I
We
know.
were
I
like
was
up
like, it's the
above
one
you.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really weird. But the original show, the first show we played was in Lawrence, Kansas,
Hmm.
on like New York Street at our friend's house who's going to KU, and it was kind of cool because like the um the singer of the Get Up Kids, Matt, lived across the street. He didn't come over, but we were like excited that he lit. We knew his house was across the street,
Yeah.
and like we'd get pizza like that night before the show, and you see like the anniversary there and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I know we started like playing in that college town, and I think like our first show, was in Kansas. I don't know if our second show was at the college, but it must have just been like we were college age and someone had access to the
Yeah.
lecture hall. But when I look
Yeah.
at those pictures, it's funny because we're just
Yeah.
fucking around and like you said, like
Yeah. It's
just
fun.
writing on the chalkboard and doing whatever. And
Yeah. It's just
I don't know who.
it's almost like, doing basement shows kind of situation where it's just like, let's just play anywhere we can play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we did. Obviously a lot of that too, but Um, I do wonder how that
Yeah.
that lecture hall came
Yeah.
about. That's
That's
pretty
great.
wild.
The one show I think it might be one of my favorites. It's the one that I remember the most. It was you guys were playing at the pageant after they premiered Hooch and Daddy-O. Do you remember
Yeah.
that at all? It was, and you guys
So
got kicked out.
right. So Lee's uh my bandmate Lee's good friends made Hooch and
Yeah,
Daddy-O, that film.
yeah,
And they done some screenings. And so they invited us to be like the band there. And Lee, because you know how it is, you get like the green. Well, in serious for more serious places like that, you get like the
yeah,
green room beers and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, of course.
Um, and so like we're not used. I guess we're not used to like having like a bunch of free beer, and so we're like, so here you guys have them too, and like started passing them out, and
Yeah,
then um, but there was, I mean, I think there was some hostility. There was some hostility there. It's like
yeah,
you know, um, I don't know like exactly who was there or what the deal
right,
was, but we
right.
always got like into riffs with like local dudes here and
Yeah.
there, and like um he passed one off the stage and like someone made the connection like this is an all ages show and you
Hmm.
just pass the beer off without carding someone, so therefore you're supplying
Yeah.
beer to minors in our
Yep.
venue. And
Yep.
they like pull down our merch before we
Yep.
even got off stage, and
Yep.
like we're trying to like hurt us like financially, and then like
Right.
and then we like as soon as we got done playing, they pulled us outside and we're like, we need
Right.
your social security numbers. And I remember like looking at the security guard and being like,
I
are
don't
you
even
like a cop or a judge or whatever? He's like,
right.
well, I used to be a cop. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not giving you my social security number, bro.
No.
Um,
Hmm.
But I think we still ended up coming back there maybe
Yeah.
once for
Yeah.
like a local thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're not like we were over the top and in
Yeah.
character and like
Yeah, of
walking around
course.
with other boas, and we knew it
Yeah.
was ridiculous. But like, I think
It's
some of the
okay.
people were like, "Who do these fucking guys think they are?"
I think a lot of people kind of go on that where it's like it was your persona, it was just part of the vibe of the, and the thing is they put you on the lineup. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like just accept who's there and don't fuck with them the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I remember like there's times because we'd come out to like a Dr. Dre song or whatever, and you'd
Yeah.
see us on stage setting up, but
Yeah.
like before the music hits, there's going to be someone else's song, and we're gonna like walk out, as if like the club was playing an entrance music or whatever. It was all
Right.
ridiculous, but like
Yeah.
sometimes like a smaller club would see us like walk off stage after we set up
Yeah.
and be like, "Oh, you fucking assholes! Like you're supposed to be on stage," and you're like, "Dude, the show's already
Yeah. It
starting.
started. Yeah.
Like I hit the button. Like it's
Yeah.
cool."
It's an
But like
intro
they didn't
thing going
always
on.
get
Yeah.
it because you're
Yeah.
you're playing like this like bullshit rock star character, even
Yeah.
though you don't believe that hype yourself. You're just
Right.
you're just like playing that, and
Yeah.
then you're in like humble like Midwest, and they're just kind of like the fuck, like
Yeah.
hell no,
Yeah. No, I
I
get
mean,
it.
not the clubs, not the kids. Like
Not the
they
kids,
kind
yeah.
of
The
get it,
fans
but
are
yeah,
always all for it. They've been along for the ride, but yeah, the people that kind of run it, either they're ex, musicians or ex whatever, they got this sort of weird hostility for any new generation thing that's coming up, whether it
yeah,
be risque or not. Like, who do these people think they are? Bowie or something? Like they kind of have
right,
this vibe to them. And it's like, don't bring it in here because you're gonna ruin the fun. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It was cool. The places that got it,
Yeah,
but
of
like
course.
there's for everyone it does, there's definitely one that doesn't. So
Yeah. And it,
I
it really
mean,
shows for like a lot of the other venues that you were called back to. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah.
There's Jeff Parks who owned the Creepy Crawl
Yeah.
lives in Las Vegas now, and I know like kind of where he hangs out and
Oh, that's kind of cool.
at the Peppermill Lounge, and I like for years. It's been a minute now, but for
Yeah.
years I could just go. I don't have to call him. I just show up to the Peppermill like
Yeah.
after like 11 p.m.
Yeah.
and he'll just be like, he'll like grab the bartender and be like, "This guy used to sell out my club. This is Brad." And they'll be like, "We know Brad. Like, we've already heard the story. Like, we don't really care about y'all's fucking glory days or
Right.
whatever." But like,
Right. Oh yeah.
but it was funny because it was to a point where local local people just trying to work in
Yeah.
LA or in Las Vegas would be like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, like I'm tired of hearing about Femme Fatality and the Creepy Crawl because like that was a long time ago and like I was 15 of the whatever, like
Right.
it
No,
was."
I get it. Yeah.
But we do have kind of a bond. I think I
Yeah.
could run into that guy anytime and be like, hell yeah! I mean, that was like our kind of home base.
Oh yeah. No, it's perfect. What was Warp Tour? You guys opened Warp Tour, didn't you? For was it '04?
Yeah, I think it was 2005. We played
Oh, 2005.
one.
That's
We
right.
played the St. Louis State.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
and
was that? Was that how early was that for you guys?
so it would have been like our second year as the band or
Yeah.
something. But that was cool. It was we signed up for that like Ernie Ball
Yeah.
competition
Hmm.
online, get likes, get clicks, whatever,
Yeah.
to play, and we
Hmm.
didn't do it. Like we didn't follow through with it. But
Oh, okay.
like our name was on there and we uploaded a photo and just kind of forgot
Just
about
kind
it.
of forgot. Yeah.
But I think it was more than just like the contests or the clicks or the
Yeah.
because I think they had people like on the ground that they would call like from the bars or whatever and be like what local bands are like doing cool, like we're doing well
Yeah.
right now or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like they just kind of booked us and I was like, well, we didn't win,
Mhm.
like,
Can you hear me all right?
all right, cool.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
we're back.
No, we've been having it's raining and storming over here, so I've been having all kinds of issues and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
we can hear you.
yeah, Warp Tour
Yeah,
was kind of one of the um big moments for us, I think,
yeah,
just playing in front of that kind of sea of people. And I remember it was like just so hot and humid, and we still had
yeah.
our long
That's what
sleeve
I was gonna
shirts and
say.
our
I was like, my
buttoned up
God, yeah,
collars, and I remember like being like, that was kind of the beginning of like My Chemical Romance and
hmm,
Fall Out Boy and
yeah,
these popular bands. And I just remember like, who the fuck is Fall Out Boy? Like, what is this fucking because you see people there
Yeah.
like writing it on their body, Fall Out Boy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember like that was 2005. That must have been like
Yeah.
right when that
It was
like
the dawn of the whole emo movement. So,
yeah,
yeah.
whatever that was, it was
Yeah.
definitely the start of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you started doing Sudden Passion Ideas kind of during that tour time, before you started recording Pretty Mess.
Yeah, like even one of my other brothers and I, we had a band called the Chemical Love Saga that was on like one local compilation, which was basically the Sudden Passion, and
Yeah.
we changed our names because there was a band called My Chemical Romance. So
Yeah.
like
Do you want to
we
mix
were
them
like,
up?
oh, let's call it the Sudden Passion, kind of, you
Yeah.
know. So I'd always kind of had those songs and like
Yeah.
that kind of those like inclinations going on
Yeah.
simultaneously while Femme was doing his thing. So a lot of times we would have friends from other towns that had put Femme on shows, and we'd want to get them, you know, something in St. Louis, but we promised the club, you know, we're not going to play another show for, we're going to play your show and no other shows
Hmm.
for X amount of time. So we would start doing, excuse me, the Sudden
No,
Passion,
it's okay. Yeah.
um, you know, to do an extra show with, you know, Peach Cake or
Yeah,
whoever.
of course. Yeah.
And so we kind of run in some tracks and then have like bass and keys and
Yeah.
acoustic guitar and do this folky thing.
Yeah, no, I've
Um,
seen the Sudden Passion, I think at one time. I can't remember which venue, but yeah, it was good stuff. I really like it. So especially live.
cool,
So
thanks.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. I think, you know, the crossover, you know, because the music's so different, wasn't like totally there. We'd bring out some fans and they'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, you know, I'd rather be dancing in my underwear,
Dancing,
but
yeah.
whatever, you know.
So pretty mess, and was it Triple X Arcade came out in 2007. You guys put that on vinyl, right?
Yeah, that was our like stick figure records. We were
Yeah.
gonna do the Once Not Enough record with them, which we
Hmm.
did. They did a 7 inch for us.
Yeah.
So Triple X Arcade, the B side ended up
Mhm.
being, I think, like one of my, like when I look back, like kind of one of my favorites. But maybe it's more like
Yeah.
kind of in my vein, like
Right.
Nick Cave, like singer
Yeah.
songwriter. Like it wasn't, it was weird and kind of
Hmm.
gross, but like it
No,
wasn't,
it's
or
okay.
kind of sleazy, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like tongue in cheek like some of the
Right.
other stuff. And I
Yeah.
think then we realized like, oh shit, people actually listen to us. Like maybe we should kind of like try to be more serious. So
No,
I
it's
think Kevin,
fine.
who was in the band at the time, was
Yeah.
doing like did a lot. He actually did a lot of the writing on Pretty Mess, which
Oh, that's good.
ended up
Yeah.
being kind of like screamy
Yeah, it kind of had
stuff.
that
And
screamo, like Blood Brothers type of vibe to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely had the influence of the times on it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It was a good song.
um, thanks. Yeah.
What was it like, the music video? Tell me about that.
Um, yeah, some friends of ours had, you know, they were doing some film stuff, and then they kind of brought in like whatever local film community there was. They had a fucking crane there, you know, a
And
loft,
the
like
whole get up. Yeah.
the whole thing. We
Yeah.
bought like catering, as a band, like that was our contribution.
Fancy.
Everybody else
Yeah.
did
Nice.
everything from like
Yeah.
free, like,
Yeah.
but I mean, it was just like we went to like, you know, Costco or wherever and just
Yeah.
build out tables full of stuff. And we're like, all right, anybody wants to come out and drink and like eat
Yeah.
can be and like be in the video, and they did.
Yeah.
And you know, there was a bunch of like crazy shit happening in there that was filmed, and
Yeah.
like I think they tried to like tone it down even for the video, which
Really?
like the video is kind of murderous, but like
Yeah.
there were people like really like going at it, like
Yeah.
making out, and like
Yeah.
little trios and corners and stuff, and you're just like, you guys didn't put any of that silly shit in there. Like, well, we don't know like how old everyone is and stuff, you
Right.
know.
Right. Well, it was just like everybody's in their under, like it just, it's what I was trying to like explain to my wife. And I was like, the, Femme Fatality shows is very it's just like a hodgepodge of people, and we're just kind of dancing, and I wouldn't say it's like anything overly sexual, but it's like a connection or something like that. It's kind of the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, and I feel like that by that time, like none of it was by design anymore. It was, I feel
No.
like it was the audience kind of just created like a
Yeah.
culture around it.
Yeah.
Um, which like I mean, like we were never like, I mean, we were never like, oh yeah, you guys, like
You
everyone
have
take off their
to.
clothes
Right.
or
Yeah. No,
buy
it just
glow sticks or
right.
or like get on stage. So we
Yeah.
can't be on stage anymore. Like no one ever like, I mean, I don't think anyone ever really said that. It was just like kind of
Yeah.
like it kind of the crowd, the people in St. Louis, especially that were into it, like kind
Hmm.
of created their own thing. And I feel like when I would come off stage, be like, good show. I'd be like, yeah, you too. Like it was y'all, not really
Yeah.
me,
Yeah. It was
like
just, I'm just here for the entertainment. You guys bring the energy, really. You know what I mean?
yeah, like at certain points I was like, I don't know. I feel like I could be traded out of this. Like it's as long as somebody's here for them to do that, that's what's
Right.
cool. Like whatever they're doing out there is what's
Right.
cool.
Just
Like
keep doing
we
what you're
kind of
doing.
started it, but y'all
Yeah.
kind of have it now. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the recording process for One's Not Enough?
We had this guy, Gabe, in the band at the time who was doing a lot of recording as well. And by that time, I was getting kind of used to recording at home.
Hmm.
So it was kind of multiple apartments. And
Yeah.
we also rented a rehearsal space that was connected to a studio. So we would rent rehearsal time
Yeah.
next door to that. So that was done in like several places, but it just depended how loud we had to be or
Yeah.
like what kind of track it was. But
Yeah.
ultimately, it was like we got together that current version of the band, those
Yeah.
members,
Yeah.
specifically like Gabe and I, and like just
Yeah.
kind of like made it, mixed it like ourselves. Yeah,
Yeah. I was gonna say because I remember you guys were. I know it's you and Alex. Alex was in the video. I saw him in the crowd.
right.
But I know Alex joined you on stage for a while. How was that going for you?
Yeah, Alex graduated high school like the same week that Kevin left the band, and
Hmm.
so we had a tour like planned. And
Yeah.
Kevin was kind of like not down to go on, and so we put Alex like right in the band,
Yeah.
and so yeah, then you had like um my brother and I on stage together, which was cool, but it was
Hmm.
like fast.
Yeah.
You have like this 18-year-old kid who's just like the next week in like New York, a bunch of in the knitting factory around a bunch of people, and like
Yeah.
Alex, like you couldn't smoke anymore like in
Mhm.
most cities, but you could
Yeah.
in St. Louis. Alex got
Right.
like kicked out of the venue for smoking, and then like
Yeah.
threw up, and then like our New York management was there like trying to get us a deal, and it was
Yeah.
like they would set up like major labels and stuff to
Yeah,
turn
of
us
course.
down, or of
Yeah.
course, but it was like I remember like
Yeah.
that first Alex show was like in at least the first one in New York was like
Yeah.
Alex was like drunk on the floor, just like, and I'm just like kicking Alex like,
Yeah. Come
fucking
on.
go,
Let's go. We
fucking
got a
come on.
show, right? No,
So I mean, I don't know if they'd be happy that that's the first story that comes to mind, but that's how it
no, it's
started. And
fine.
then,
Right.
Alex is a great networker, just
Hmm.
continued on in bands for their
Yeah.
whole life. And like, so it was a cool experience overall, but it kind of
Yeah.
started off kind of
I was gonna
funky
say
and
because I
awkward.
know sometimes when you got a sibling up on stage, there's you're button heads and stuff like that, and it's just like, believe me, I know I've dealt with that with my brother a few times on a few situations. So
Yeah, it was, I mean, we're like 7 years apart. So it did
yeah,
become kind of like, at one point, I mean, Alex, was in high school, and I'm kind of like, don't drink. I told our parents you wouldn't,
yeah,
and I'm like the fucking dad. And
yeah.
then,
You got to be
and
the
we're like,
father, right?
yeah, and we're like, but we're all doing all this shady shit. And then like, a year later, Alex is like in the band, like
Hmm.
just like, what do you mean? I was never not here, so
Right,
just like totally took to it. So
right.
it was kind of it's crazy, as we get older,
Hmm.
the years kind of like things don't change quite as fast. But when you're young, you can really
Yeah,
go from like high school kid to like commanding an audience
yeah.
sometimes in a few minutes.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I get it. With the recording, Bullet Train, all about touring life. Am I right about that one?
Yeah, makes me want to look up Bullet
I
Train
know, I'm sorry.
lyrics. No,
I
no, I
listened to
should
your
have.
guys' went through all the albums and the lyrics. It just really has that sort of we're just touring life and how chaotic it is and you know.
Yeah, I'm looking up
No, you're good. Take your time.
Bullet Train, Femme Fatality.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, totally. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, we're singing about our microphones and fucking
Yeah.
about like, yeah, you guys the sex, the drugs, the interstate.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I think there's like a little Eminem
That's just how I felt to it. Yeah,
influence and
absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like definitely like yeah, totally.
When
Yeah.
you wrote Still Alive, tell me about that. How, because I know you uh said it at one point, a post, you said that was a sudden passion idea, but I think it's kind of become both. You've had somehow merged it both when you played it live. Tell me
Yeah.
what was going on at the time you wrote that.
Yes, Still Alive. Yeah, that was like that was super honest because like,
Yeah, it's
like songs like
very,
Bullet Train
it's
or
bleeding
something,
heart
you're
honest. Yeah,
right. Like some of those songs you're trying to be like kind of in the character.
of
Like the
course.
Bullet
Yeah,
Train song, you're
yeah,
kind of like, I'm so cool, I do so much drugs and stuff,
yeah,
but like Still Alive, you're kind of like, I feel like I'm already living kind of a hard life
yeah,
and
of
like
course. Yeah,
but like it's not taking me out, but like some of the people I've been around have, like fucking died already. And
yeah.
I didn't think that I was like so like drug addled that I would
No,
be, but like I
no,
was kind of like depressed when I wrote it and like it just kind of came out
yeah,
and I the original version was on like STL Punk as like
yeah.
as a sudden passion song.
Hmm.
And then I think, for One's Not Enough, we kind of needed songs. So
Yeah,
we just were like,
just
let's
start
try this one.
cranking them out. Yeah,
And I think, yeah, like I remember Stick Figure, like Gavin, the guy that ran Stick Figure Records, he was
yeah.
like, can we do more of this? And I'm like, well, you could just sign Sudden Passion. Like, I don't
Right,
know. Like,
right.
because it was kind of weird to do a Sudden Passion song for Femme Fatality,
Yeah,
but yeah, I do think it worked for both. I remember
it
like
did.
our
Yeah,
release show,
yeah,
we did like an acoustic version of Still Alive at the end,
yeah,
at Vintage, or not the release show, but our Vintage Vinyl in
yeah.
store record
Hmm.
store
Yeah,
show.
yep.
And like someone brought me, it was nice enough to just like bring me a guitar like last minute, and we did
Hmm.
that. And
Yeah,
um like I don't know, that was kind of cool. I knew that if Femme Fatality kept going long enough, like
yeah.
you wouldn't be able to just do like aerobics electro like the
Right.
whole time. Like you'd have to
Yeah,
like have
tame
like
it down a
valleys
little.
and
Yeah, you
peaks and
got.
stuff. So I figured that would be like something we could
No,
work
it's
in there.
perfect. Yeah, it worked really well. Barfly. Who is that at the end that we're hearing? It was like it
Oh,
was some record. Someone that was drunk. It sounds like. Am I hearing that right?
um, I think.
Somebody was rambling
Oh,
and just yelling obscenities. It was the most like you're kind of in the middle of
oh,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It was Gabe's. So our guitarist's neighbor.
yeah,
He lived. He had a window that was always open because he
yeah.
wouldn't like do AC and stuff,
Right. Yeah,
And he had a neighbor that would too.
yeah,
And the neighbor would just sit there, and I think he was kind of insane. And he would
yeah,
just talk all day about
yeah.
like. But even if someone wasn't there, and he'd say weird shit like, "My wife smells my shit. I smell her shit too."
Yeah, it was some weird
It's just like, and we were just like, and so he just started like like keeping the mics on and recording this
Yeah.
fucking guy,
No, it's
and
great.
so we were like, we were like young and thought it was funny, and we were
Yeah.
just like, this fucking guy's going on the record. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know, like, I don't know who the hell it was. It was just
Right.
some Saint
No, it
South
was just
Side
funny.
neighbor,
Yeah.
yeah, that didn't
Um,
know he was being recorded. Yeah,
right. No, it was great. It's
yeah,
some fun thing to kind of put in the middle where people are like, wait, what? And you're just kind of like, you kind of got to turn it up and like really like cup your ear to hear it. You're
yeah,
like, it was one of those weird moments. I remember listening to it, the CD in my car. And again, one of
yeah,
those albums that just played constant in my car. Just,
yeah.
and hearing that, it was just like, okay, let me see if I can catch what he's saying this time. Like, it was so
I
funny.
think Yeah, I think it's like it's cool to make records like that. Like
Yeah,
nowadays, if I'm in there with someone else or even
yeah,
myself, and there's like something that happens at the end of the track, or you
yeah,
speak to someone, or the dog barks or whatever,
yeah,
it's nice to kind of leave it on there because you're like, well, it's supposed to be a recording, like a record of time of things that were
yeah,
going on at that time.
yeah, of course.
So it's if there's a weird neighbor that was like next door, it's like, well, why not like let people feel a little bit
Right.
of like how that shit was really being
What was
recorded,
really going on in the
Yeah.
background for that one?
Hmm.
Um, Touring with this album, I think there was a post about San Antonio, Texas, where you guys reined in.
Yeah, there was like we were there was just like crazy flash flooding, I think,
Yeah,
and it was like the NBA, and like we
yeah,
couldn't find like I think the I think the NBA finals were happening in San
Right.
Antonio.
Yeah.
And so like it was just like these huge like flash floods, and we're just like going through in our van like a boat, you know.
Yeah.
And then we had our old CB radio, and like
Yeah.
it'd be like
Just hearing the crazy shit going
survive,
on.
don't drive, you know, like literally just like repeating that, and we'd be
Yeah.
like, we can do it, just drive through it, you know, like.
Oh God, that's chaotic.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think. If I had one last thing. Oh, were you guys doing jobs? Would you have like side jobs when you were still touring, or was this strictly your full-time job was Femme Fatality?
Yeah, no, we would Femme Fatality never really, I mean, if we made money in one town, we'd lose it, you know, getting to another, you
No, I
know,
get
like
it.
how
Yeah.
that goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were trying to get by. I I mean, I've been in hair business since probably about the time, I think I was in hair school when Femme
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
And my family owned a salon back there, so
Yeah.
I would do hair like while we were on
Oh,
the
okay.
road, and
Oh,
then
perfect. Yeah.
everyone else is be like, you know, in and out of like retail restaurants, like whatever you
Mhm.
do when you're back in town. But we would try not to like at the time we were using like fake names, and we were trying not to like reference like our real lives at all, to try and build like this sort of like character separate
Yeah.
from real life. Where nowadays, you know, it's like you just kind of like everyone kind of knows everything. But
Yep.
back then it was kind of fun to
Yeah, of course.
try and keep the facade, or not pull
Yeah.
back the curtain too much, you know.
No, it's perfect. That tour is, I think, was that the tour? I'm trying to remember. You met Shane, who would be your upcoming member for Strange or for That's It, and the newer Femme
Yeah,
Fatality. You
Murder
went to
Wade and
Pasadena,
Stranger.
wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
you know a lot. Yeah.
I do my research. I'm sorry. So
No, no, it's cool. Yeah, we did meet in Pasadena, and
yeah. What was that? What
kind
band was
of
he in at the time?
midnight dance
Is
craze.
that what it was? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was like a duo, and we were
Hmm.
doing, you know, we kind of like looked the same, dressed the same,
Yeah.
you know, it's very similar stuff. So when I came out, uh, just like natural to like meet up and see if we can do anything with it.
Yeah,
And
of
we ended
course.
up doing like Sudden Passion and Femme
Oh, okay, cool.
together. And then
Yeah.
I think one show in Chicago, we had Alex and Shane.
Oh,
And
cool.
like, there's been so many
So many
combinations and
changes.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Um, September 19th, 2009 was your guys' last Femme Fatality show. I believe it was at the Firebird. Am I correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
wait. Yeah, I don't know. It must have been.
Okay.
It was the last St.
I
Louis
saw
show,
it,
or
it
was
was
the,
um it was a flyer I saw, and I think it was all orange or yellow,
it was
and it
like a
said,
moving away show, right?
yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
I was wondering if that your guys' sort of like, I'm leaving St. Louis to go to LA type
Yeah, that
of,
was
yeah.
because Alex was moving to Chicago. I was moving
Yeah.
to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was like a moving away from LA show.
Yeah.
We did, I did end up doing, we did end up doing more, even in the Midwest, I think,
Hmm.
after that. But like every
Yeah.
show, you got to market it somehow. So
Of course.
you're like, okay, well, it's good. It might be a while. I don't know what's going
Yeah.
on, but I believe we came back. I think, I think we were in the Midwest again when I lived
Yeah.
in LA, like whatever that week that like Michael Jackson died, we were on the
Oh,
roads.
okay. Yeah.
That
Yeah. Yeah.
I could look up what date that was, but I think
That's okay.
maybe within the year of that or something,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Hmm.
So then you did Sudden Passion, and then That's It. No, hold on. Typical Television Man came out in 2010. Was that like a single split kind of thing?
Television Man was like some weird European, like sort of like Euro trash
Yeah.
band that was like doing the fuck were they called? But they were doing like a compilation
Yeah.
of bands covering them, but
Oh,
asking
okay.
bands to cover them.
Yeah.
So we were kind of like just fucking around with them. We were like,
Okay.
"Whoa,
So it's just
Television
another
Man!"
kind of, yeah.
Like it was just like, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I actually think the song was kind of cool, but
No,
like,
I think it was great.
I think I don't know if they really liked that we were all like kind of like he was wearing my pink Femme Fatality panties, you know, like I feel like they
Yeah,
kind of knew we were maybe mocking them
that's
a little
okay.
bit,
Right.
but yeah, typical was a song that was never like properly released,
Yeah.
but it was like we played it live, so we I think we released like a live version of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it was because I was when I was doing digging, I didn't even know those two were even I didn't even notice until it was on your I think you posted on YouTube. And you just guys just kind of like dumped all your stuff on your YouTube channel.
Yeah,
And it was like, oh, I haven't heard this. So I'm kind of doing my digging and research and I was like, how did I not hear this? So of course I had I had it put it on my my notes here. So
yeah, I think sometimes there was just stuff that wasn't out, and people would
yeah.
be like, "Oh, we should do this and that," and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Fuck!" Like, I'll put it somewhere so people can find it.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't even know the Television Man was on
It's okay.
YouTube because sometimes
Yeah.
Fem fans will ask me for it,
Yeah.
like they'll email me like random, and I'll send them. I have like the same thread of like
Yeah.
17 people that have
Right.
come through, and I'm like, "Here it is.
There you go.
Here's the 2006 email thread."
Right.
Yeah.
Now with the recording of That's It. I felt like here's kind of what I put in my notes that the relationship with you and Shane was kind of like when Trent met Atticus Ross, where there was like a shift in the sound and kind of shift in the music and the lyrics. I felt like you guys were really growing and maturing in a way. Am I speaking out of line with that, or does that seem pretty?
Growing and maturing musically on
Yeah.
which records are?
It was starting with That's It. You were working with Shane.
Yeah.
Am I right on that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think so. Like Shane was really into uh like analog synths
Yeah.
and actually like okay, no, we gotta like make this more serious, play the
Yeah.
instruments
Yeah.
like live, not
Yeah. Of
just
course.
on track or whatever.
Hmm.
And we had a little lockout space in Hollywood, on Hollywood Boulevard, like
Yeah.
really shitty small place, but it was fun for us. We could like take trains to the spot and like
Yeah.
and there was like these cool rock bars across the street and other
Yeah.
bands around, and we would just sit there and drink like Four Locos back when they still had like a ton of
Yeah, I think you
caffeine
guys made
and
a
just
post when it was with Four Loko. I was like, oh boy, like believe me, I've been there. So
yeah, we
yeah.
would just fucking do that shit all night and like
Hmm.
just and then we hit last call, come back to the
Yeah.
thing, and like
Yep.
sometimes they lock you in between like certain hours when there's not
Hmm.
someone at the front. We would just
Right.
like ride it out, and like in hindsight, like I think like the next couple of records we made together were like better, but like that
Hmm.
was kind of like the bridge of like us like you know
That's
getting into like analog sense and like getting more serious about it.
that's
Yeah,
what it felt like with That's It. It felt like you were still trying to kind of make the sort of femme fatality, but then you had a song like Tulsa, which felt
yeah,
like a taste of things to come for the
yeah.
future femme
Yeah,
fatality.
yeah, it was kind of like about like being on the run and
Yeah,
crime and stuff, which is what
yeah,
the record after that started to kind of be
yeah,
about. And like
yeah,
we kind of got more into that. We were kind of like, oh, we're not like as like sort of like enthralled with
yeah.
the club scene or whatever.
Right.
We were kind of just more like, well, we hang out in bars and stuff, but like
Yeah.
we want to sing about like some shit that like is more
No.
mysterious to us or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. And then so you did your solo work between That's It and Stranger, am I right? Was that the Brad project? Because I know you did a song for oh my God, I bought the single. He was trying to run for president.
Oh, Bernie Sanders,
Yes, thank you. That's it. Yeah, I
like
bought that
in
single. Yeah.
probably the first 2015
Yeah,
or
that was I
something.
think that
Yeah,
might have been one of the
like
first. Yeah.
yeah, I think we were doing both kind of at the same time.
Yeah.
We were playing like there was like a cool goth. Well, um, I guess cool depends on it's subjective, but
Right.
there's
Yeah.
like a big goth night in St.
Yeah.
Louis.
Yeah.
I mean in Los Angeles
So
called Bar
yeah.
Sinister, and we were starting to like play that
Yeah.
and with Femme Fatality, and that was kind of cool because we're like this late in our career, we're doing this other kind of music, and
Yeah.
but we're actually getting into like this kind of like significant goth scene
Yeah,
thing
it
here that
really.
we didn't
Yeah.
really expect to tap into. But then
Right.
I was playing like I remember I was booking that, but being I was like on the road doing like a few dates solo with like
Yeah.
opening for Amigo the Devil, and
Yeah.
so I do remember like some of those things happening at the same time, and I
Yeah.
think eventually like I just got busy with solo, and like
No, I get
instead of
it.
it was like crossfading, you know, it was like
Yeah.
you're all the way in, and then you're kind of both, and then you're kind of not doing the other thing
No, I
anymore.
get it. Stranger was incredible. I actually have it right now on my record display, the vinyl. I bought the vinyl, and you guys pressed it
Yeah,
yourself, did you not?
yeah. Shane screen printed that,
Yeah.
and it was done on lathe cut vinyl.
Yeah.
So our friend in the UK, you know, each one was what's it called? Not pressed, but cut
Yeah,
in real
cut.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, we did the sleeves ourselves, and the I believe the hand numbering. I think there was
Yeah.
only 30 of them or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
So that was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah,
And then it was definitely a major shift in your sound. Dark wave, goth. Again, you guys were experimenting more with analog. So it really just added a whole nother atmosphere to it. And I played the hell out of that album when I listened to it. And it again, it kind of came in with, playing the hell out of your guys's earlier stuff. And then when I got that on vinyl, just played it to death. And I really love the shift in sound. And now it felt like you were taking a lot of your solo stuff and kind of mingling it with these analog synthesizers, and it's an incredible record. I feel like I'm
thanks,
just kind of
man.
kissing ass today, but it's such a
No,
fantastic record. So tell me about
no,
recording
yeah,
that
I
one.
think
Yeah.
about Stranger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one was the last one that Shane and I like wrote and made musically and vocally like
Yeah.
together. So
Yeah.
we were like I feel like we did have like kind of this synergy, this like unspoken like we could work together at that point
Yeah.
on like MIDI and like then running it through the synths and like
Yeah.
do this, do that,
Hmm.
you know, cue up another track, you know, duck the bass, whatever the fuck we were doing. But like we
Yeah.
could work on the computer and like switch, and it was almost like you're having conversations, but you're not saying
Yeah.
anything. Like we could,
Right.
I feel like those few songs on that EP, like we made without like
Yeah.
having to really talk. Like we kind of knew what we wanted.
Right. You guys kind of had
Um,
that sort of synergy connection, kind of, we know what we want
yeah,
out of this. Yeah.
yeah, we'd have these like several hour sessions where it would just kind of like, you know, we weren't just like drinking Four Loco and fucking off on
Yeah.
Hollywood
No.
Boulevard anymore. Like
Yeah.
we actually kind of had like something happening. I feel like at that point,
Yeah. No, it's great.
that was kind of serious, and I do really love that one too.
Yeah.
Um, thanks for saying so. Like,
Yeah.
um, I think the yeah, I think that I mean I don't know that might be the best one, but I do
Yeah.
like what came after too. But it was
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to that later, but it was
Yeah.
different. It was more like after that, it was more like I'll produce the vocals and write vocals, and you just send me tracks, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And you guys, did you just kind of stick locally? You kind of did like just stuck locally for kind of, I want to say touring the album, but kind of performing. You kind of just stayed in LA for that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what all was going on in our
Hmm.
lives, but like I feel like we we would do like these shows in Hollywood, and we would
Yeah.
have like you know we had electronic drummer Andrew,
Yeah.
and we had like a live bass, and we had very little tracks, and um I feel like just kind of it was kind of like a big production to put on, but we were kind of
Yeah.
like let's
Yeah.
do it in LA. Like
Yeah.
I mean at the same time it was like members were living in like San Diego, Palm Springs, Los Angeles, so we're all like 100 couple hundred miles apart,
Yeah.
you know, so it was kind of an ordeal to even like
Yeah.
meet
Of course.
out in the desert and like
Yeah.
rehearse and let alone like perform it live. So
Yeah.
by then we were I don't think we maybe I mean I don't know the last time we went out to the Midwest, but I
Yeah.
think it was like
No.
Chicago only, you know.
Yeah. No,
Hmm.
because I remember you guys did for that one a live stream, and you guys you live streamed your performance from, I guess, the practice space or whatever. And then
Yeah, which is really just yeah, like
yeah, and then
Shane's garage in the desert. Yeah.
right. And people would it was almost like you guys were like cam girls where you just keep dropping money. Like I remember that we were
Yeah,
watching it and
I
it was like
know.
if you guys played a song we liked, we're like $5, $10. You
Yeah,
know, it was like people were just dropping this money. It was so eventful because I was like, I'm finally gonna see them live again. I don't care if it's on my computer. And I remember one of the
yeah.
videos you guys posted, I can see my little icon there in the corner. And I was like, yes,
That's
see, I was
funny.
there. Like it was one of those moments where it's like,
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I
It was
remember
a
that
neat
too.
concept.
Like
Yeah,
that company, I don't know which one it was,
yeah,
but it was like it was a weird thing because it was like they send you money, but
yeah,
I'm sure happens to the cam girls. It's like they
yeah.
take like 50 fucking percent,
Of
like the
course,
company does.
of course.
And you're just like, dude, come on.
I know. Yeah,
You're like you're taking like half for
half.
just the fucking live stream, you know?
Right. Oh, that's a bummer. But no, that was so it was neat because it was like I don't remember a lot of people performing like doing a live performance online before COVID. Like COVID, everybody was
Yeah,
doing everything live from a compound, live from a church, live from this, live from that. But you guys did it, what, 2016? And it was just like,
yeah.
this is amazing. Like it just blew my mind finally being able to see you guys perform live, even if it was on a computer.
It's been a cool like musical career, if you can call it
It's
that.
been a
Like
ride. Yeah.
just because, when I started, we were like selling CDs on MySpace,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
like mail ordering CDs, and then you're doing like MP3s, which still had like, you know, which was kind of cool because you're like, I
Yeah.
don't gotta like pay to press more CDs. Like
No, yeah.
it's kind of easy for me.
Right.
And then we saw the birth of like YouTube. Like one time we were out
Hmm.
on the road and we were like, holy shit, every fucking night is on the internet. Like
Yeah.
somehow, that's like 2005, like
Yeah.
or whatever, like that existed out
Yeah.
of the blue, but we were there
Yeah.
before it. And then,
Yeah.
and then you see like live streaming happen. You're still
Hmm.
like that band,
Yeah.
is that saw like everything from the old method to
Yeah.
the dawn of like whatever's happening now. It's
Yeah.
been a good ride. I
It's
think our
a
generation kind of saw a lot of cool
I think we
twists of
did.
music.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
I'm really interested on how it's gonna evolve even more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, last one, Murder Wave, your latest one. It took was that did it really take like 5 years in the making? You guys did like a crowdfunding, wasn't it, for that one?
Yeah, we I don't know what, I feel like Stranger was a crowd fund
Yeah,
for the vinyl. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly what
yeah,
happened with Murder Wave, but
yeah,
I think it was like we weren't really active anymore, but we had this big record,
yeah,
um, big like time wise, like it's an
yeah,
hour long.
yeah, of course,
Um,
yeah.
Small as far as like impact because we weren't really that active, and
No,
it
it was
kind of
good.
sat around, and we like never got it mastered, and I was
Yeah,
busy with like I was starting to do like tours and festivals and stuff
yeah,
solo. And then eventually, like when things settled down, I was like, hold on, like this is all like ready. Like this
yeah,
is all we got to do is master it.
yeah,
And so we did, and we put it out. And I think it's really incredible. It's all Shane does like 100% of like all the music, and then
yeah,
all the vocals and like mixing and stuff on that end was me. So
yeah,
we were kind of like separate on it, but
yeah,
it's all just based on like forensic files and
yeah,
like watching true crime because
yeah,
I was watching a ton of that back then, and
yeah.
um like I really like the song luminol because they're
Hmm.
always like, and the substance luminol which can
Yeah,
detect the protein, but
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
every time, and by then it was like 100% analog, like even the
yeah,
drums are like
yeah,
analog drum machines, and like
yeah,
he had like this wall with synthesizers that
yeah.
we'd
It's
program it
massive.
on soft sense and then send the
Yeah,
MIDI through the wall of sense and then twist shit,
yeah,
and like it's like a cool synth record to me.
yeah,
It's like um it's crazy. It's just it's nice that we got it out there. I think it would have been really fun to like
yeah,
be able to play that one out, but like
yeah.
at that point we were so far from each other, like
I get it.
physically,
Yeah,
geographically.
yeah. No,
Mhm.
I took put in my notes because aside from the usual Depeche Mode's everybody's favorite, my personal favorite's Playing the Angel. And again, with Depeche Mode, they did pretty much mostly all analog on that one. And it brought me back to that feeling of re-listening to Playing the Angel. And it
Yeah.
was just like, oh wow, this is incredible. Like I felt like I was reliving, like another moment. And still, you guys kind of really nailed that sort of like even vocally, it just was fantastic. You know what I mean? Like
Thanks.
again, I'm kissing ass again, but no, it was
No.
just it's a great, great record. And I've been trying to push like I'm like, just listen to this, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
their old stuff's great, but their new stuff, it's like I mean, me maturing as a person and you maturing, and it's just like we're all fucking maturing. It's just an
Yeah.
album, like it's great. And plus with fucking true crime going on right now, it's like
Yeah.
why wouldn't you want to listen to something that you probably watch on, Max or on ID channel or something?
Yeah.
Like it's a fantastic record. So
Thank you. No,
yeah,
dude, it's like I've been, it's hard to keep up with all of it, but like
yeah,
I we have like this like publisher that helps us put stuff on TV, and
yeah,
some of the film stuff ends up here and there, but I'm like,
yeah,
I still don't think we've had Murder Wave like the stems for like our publisher,
yeah.
and I'm like, I really need to like just, I mean, I can't expect a lot of people to listen to a record
Of
that we
course,
didn't go out and like
it's
promote,
difficult. Yeah,
but I
because
need to like do the things to like push it a little more. And
no, it's
Shane, even
okay.
like the last time we talked, was like, I have more like B-sides from that record. Like, you want to put
Yeah,
more vocals on it? We were,
right.
so like I think
Yeah,
we'll do more shit. It's
yeah.
just,
No, it's fine.
finding the time in life. But we
Of
were
course.
obsessed with the Depeche Mode at that time, and like
Yeah,
and even like their newer shit. I mean, it's
yeah,
not new anymore. It's like 10 years
yeah,
old, but like
yeah,
Delta Machine and
yeah,
stuff. It's like
yeah.
so good. We
It's
were
so
just
good.
fucking all about
Yeah, I
Depeche
agree.
Mode, and we even thought about doing like a At one point, we were like, "Do we do a Depeche Mode tribute?" Which would be a whole nother beast.
It'd be a
But
whole nother, yeah.
yeah,
No, I get it. Yeah, I talked about
and we
doing like
try.
an instrumentation to like an old silent film like Metropolis or something like that. I'm like, oh, that would be fun, but I'm like, dude, when do I have the time? Well, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like we're so busy. Um,
Yeah.
Let me see if I got anything else. No, no, pretty much seems it. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think you
I think
covered
you
it. I
nailed it.
appreciate you
Jesus, yeah.
like
Thank you.
yeah, I appreciate you, giving a shit about Femme, and like it's
No,
nice to have, it's nice to talk about something on like that sort of 20th anniversary,
yeah,
I'm glad we had a little moment
right.
there about it. So
Right. Well, no,
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate you give me a chance because I'm just kind of rolling the ball on this podcast thing where it's like, oh, I'm just reviewing movies and reviewing me like I get it in my head and then I put it in my notebook and I'm just like regurgitating all this stuff just to get it out of my head. And
Yeah.
when I was doing some research because I was like, oh, I'd like to get some guests. Again, you and I think I'm still waiting to hear back from Lars from The Undoing of David Wright.
Oh yeah.
I was like, let me just, put this out there. And again, I was kind of doing my research and I was like, never had a dad. He's coming on his 20 year. And so I was like, I'll just message him, see. So I really appreciate you giving me the time and the attention to do this. I really appreciate it, man. So thank you so
No,
much.
I appreciate you, Justin. Yeah,
Yeah, thanks, man.
cool. Thanks
All
so
right.
much.
Well, thank
All
you
right.
again.
Talk anytime.
Did you
Yeah.
want to do any more plugs or anything like that? Do you want to let everybody know what else you got going on if you need to replug anything?
Yeah, you can always follow me at on Instagram at Bradley Palermo,
Okay.
and I'll post all my stuff there at bradleypalermo.com.
Okay.
If you want the Femme Fatality Bandcamp, I believe it's femmefatality.net.
Hmm.
And yeah, you know how it is.
Yep.
We're easy to find. Yeah,
Okay. Thanks, man. Appreciate all your
cool.
time.
All right. Thanks, man.
Take it
Take
easy,
it
bud.
easy.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.